So here we are from the Business Civic Leadership Center's Adding Value to Emerging Markets Conference, and we're very fortunate to have with us Michael Webster from Dow Chemical. Michael, welcome.
Thank you.
You are the Senior Program Manager for Dow Sustainability. Why would Dow care about sustainability?
Yes, great question, and it's a long, complex story, but I'll try to be brief with the story itself. One of the things that we have in our organization, and we developed these around the 2005 time frame, is that we initiated a series of goals, and they were called our 2015 sustainability goals. And the sustainability goals dealt with the economic, the environmental, and the social aspects around us. And in those goals, we were very lofty in our ambitions, lofty in terms of what we wanted to accomplish by 2015. And one of those goals was breakthroughs to world challenges, and then also partnering for change. And so that really explains the role that I'm in as the head of our international employee volunteerism effort, is to reach out to different kinds of partnerships. And so those are NGOs, social entrepreneurs around the world, to identify opportunities to create breakthroughs to world challenges by us working with those organizations and really helping those organizations build their capacity and capability out in the field.
So the changing concept of corporate social responsibility, it doesn't sound like that's what you're talking about. You're talking about something different than that when you're talking about sustainability from Dow's standpoint.
Yes, and that's a great point, is that corporate social responsibility, in my mind, has evolved into a state of being for corporations, because it's not just doing what I would call philanthropic work in the community. It's not necessarily just writing a check and delivering that check and feeling good about what you've just done. I think corporations are really many corporations are coming to the conclusion that their engagement, either after the check has been delivered, or their engagement in terms of not even writing a check, can be much more stronger, much more robust, by really rolling up their sleeves and engaging in the organizations that they believe in and want to support. And really that defines a lot of my work on a daily basis, is rolling up our sleeves and understanding that we've got skills, we've got talents, we've got capabilities that we can offer to organizations that are much more beyond the financial. And that's not to say that the financial is no longer important, and that comes into the equation, but we think we've got more to offer than just the financial value. And so that's how we've now broadly looked at this area of social responsibility, and more specifically how it aligns with our sustainability objectives.
And your work is global in nature, right?
My work is global in nature, correct.
You couldn't take that as a class, though. So how did you, Michael Webster, come to be in to have this mindset where this is what you wanted to do?
Exactly. And it's certainly, I think you pointed to it very well, is that you can't take something like this in a class. In terms of the role that I have, you wouldn't be able to map a career map, or you wouldn't be able to go to college and facilitate a curriculum and say, I want to do this. It just, in the current vernacular in corporate America, it's just not something that resonates as a skill set that's recruited on a college campus. But more specifically, how I found myself in this particular role is, number one, my background really has led up to this kind of opportunity. It started when I was in the military. I think that gave me a grounding in terms of being able to travel around the world at a very young age. That progressed then into my work within our corporation, which has spanned across a number of different roles in the last 20 years. And I like to tell people that I've had the fortunate opportunity of working for one organization, but working in 5 or 6 different, very distinct capacities within that organization. That's really kind of defined my ability to understand broadly all of the capabilities that we have in our organization. And so it's not just one discipline of accounting per se. I've had a chance to work in different parts of the organization, whether it's been public affairs, whether it's been purchasing, whether it's been what we call business services, et cetera, et cetera. And all of those experiences have led to give me a very holistic view of our organization. And so it's very easy for me to imagine, as we work with social entrepreneurs and non-governmental organizations, it's easy for me to imagine that we can tap into skill set here, a skill set there, and a skill set there to bring those to bear in terms of helping organizations.
Dow's not alone with this global view.
Correct.
We've seen several companies here just at this Emerging Markets Conference. But Dow may be a leader. Is there a changing view among companies towards sustainability work, towards working in the community?
Yes, and I think the start of that is corporate social responsibility. And as I mentioned the word evolved, the evolution here is that, and you referenced it, many corporations are starting to get that, is that through their engagement in the communities that they're operating in, their engagements in a more tangible way allow for the communities and the organizations that they're engaged in to be more sustainable going forward. And so that's one part of the evolution. The second part of the evolution, though, is that if you think about new markets, and if you think about developing regions around the world, what a better way to engage those developing regions around the world than to go in and participate in the social fabric of those communities, building up those social fabric, the capabilities of the actors, non-governmental organizations in those communities, and also business and economic development in those communities presents itself as a great platform for business to then come in and be a part of that. And it builds credibility. It also builds really kind of a relationship, and that's how businesses really kind of exist in other parts of the world. It's through the relationships, the understanding that I know that company or I know that organization, and they've been credible, they've been here. And that's the really kind of the seeds that really kind of lubricate the process and the system for business engagement.
Now, Dow has been instrumental in the development of two new outreaches, if you will, from the Business Civic Leadership Center. One of them is the Business for Good map.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that map and Dow's involvement.
Yes, and so both engagements are really exciting for me in terms of, when I think about the progression of both of these two efforts, more specifically the business map or the Business for Good map. It's really a neat thing from the standpoint that a couple of years ago, we as an individual corporation had set out to do something fairly similar to that in terms of creating a capability where we could understand how other organizations along with ourselves are impacting communities in just the ways that I've just described around the world, and to be able to then record that and be able to have a database and a capability where you could quickly point to where these areas of engagement were. And for us, it's a very simple thing of efficiency. And that was the end result that we were trying to achieve, is some sort of efficiency in understanding that, because then you could be more focused in deploying your resources and your collective capability. And we couldn't, in terms of corporate America, we couldn't figure it out by ourselves. And then along came, the U.S. Chambers, more specifically the BCLC, indicating that they were doing developmental work in this area, and we had an aha moment. And that aha moment was, hey, we don't need to do that. Let's partner with the guys that are really doing it, and they're doing it effectively right now. And hence then came our engagement with the BCLC on this particular effort.
Now, the other thing was the International Business Corps.
Exactly.
Was it a similar aha moment?
A very similar story, but the aha moment there was more protracted in terms of not one moment, but a list of experiences. And the list of experiences came, or really started back in roughly 2008, where we as an organization wanted to identify a mechanism where we could partner with other corporations with similar mindsets and similar progressions in their thinking around sustainability, and partner with those organizations to do work internationally. And we felt at that time that was going to allow us to be much more impactful and much more sustainable going forward, not doing it alone, collecting or collaborating in our efforts, and being able to make a much broader impact. And through those efforts, we quickly determined that we were able to come together, but we quickly determined that it required so much more infrastructure to really kind of convene that and organize it and deploy it. And from those learnings, we really kind of came to the conclusion that this was something that's much bigger than us, and it's much bigger than the other three corporations that we were convening. And convening is the right word because with the BCLC, we quickly determined that their capability of convening multiple corporations through their membership made a great platform for us to do something like that. And so it was a very easy decision for us to say, hey, let's partner on this particular effort, and the effort that we're now calling the IBC was a natural progression along a chain of events that led to what we're seeing today.
And we're going to get back to the IBC and the Business for Good map in just a minute, but I got to ask you this. You know, you've been with Dow in this capacity and working in sustainability for quite some time. What's your favorite success story? Of all of the places that you've been and all of the work that you have helped in the volunteerism through your company, what's the favorite one?
Yeah, the favorite success story, I would hate to answer that question from the standpoint that I think we're really planting the seeds right now for some really great work going forward. Planting the seeds in Haiti, planting the seeds in Rio, planting the seeds in other parts of the world. But you know, if you put me in a corner and you force me to answer the question, there's a great story that really resonates well for me, and it explains a lot. And that's a story where we as a corporation developed a wetlands project in Pittsburgh, California. It's just adjacent to our plant, and this is roughly about 20 years ago. We identified the swath of landscape or area that was really kind of used as a dumping ground. And what the corporation did was said, okay, people want to come in and they want to either develop this or do whatever. We purchased the land. And through our employees, what we did was reclaim the land and created a wetland environment. Now the neat thing about this is that the corporation, the corporation did was set this stage or set the environment, but the employees, which then became retirees, took responsibility for the effort. And they've maintained that effort through the last 15 years, and these are retirees. Now, that's just a part of the story. The other part of the story is that it's become such a big success there, is that they've integrated with the school systems in that area. Now they create educational and training opportunities for the youth in that community to come out and visit the wetlands. Our Dow retirees then facilitate the education and the training, and then you know the students, or the children rather, they come away with a learning and an understanding and a sense of the environment that's, to me, very enlightening. And so to me, all of this then wraps itself around the fact that corporations, communities can coexist and can mutually then benefit from the success of each other. And then the legacy effect then that has with the youth that we're training and educating in terms of the environment, I think that's going to make it's going to make a rich future for the children there, but also I think as how that community views our organization.
Oftentimes I will ask the follow-up question was to tell us about the success yet to be, but you've already mentioned Haiti and Rio, so we'll be looking at those.
Yeah.
Instead, let's do this. Let's go 10 years down the road.
Okay.
We're looking back at the ground on the ground work that you helped to start with the International Business Corps and the Business for Good map.
Yes.
You're looking back now. How did it do?
I think 10 years from now it's going to be phenomenal because you know, I used the word seeds earlier, and I think those seeds are going to blossom 10 years from now. And as a matter of fact, I would almost put a window on it as 5 years from now. I mean, I could really envision 5 years from now is that we've got a very robust framework for international employee volunteerism, a very robust framework where we can demonstrate how corporations can work with organizations, non-governmental organizations around the world, how then the skill sets of these employees can be injected into these organizations to create successful models, build up capability, and really kind of grow their capacity. And then when I look at the business mapping for good, what I envision there is a very comprehensive and robust map that shows projects, capabilities around the world that then demonstrate the ability of corporations to come together and create success. And the excitement there as well is that will be a capability that allows for us to really demonstrate and show in a very quantitative basis, you know, the impact that we've been able to make. And so it won't be emotional, it won't be subjective. It'll be a very quantitative look at, you know, the success that we've had. in the 5 and the 10 years.
Michael Webster, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Sam.